And I'd be interested in Philip's thoughts on that. But I would suggest, because there's so much interest in other speakers, we defer that. And instead, I give up my moment on stage. And Kevin, please, you have other speakers who are interested in asking questions.
Well, that's a valid question, because you're basically asking like what quantum advantage we have. You could do things with quantum annealing, but it's only for optimization problems. And then, you know, say for instance, Xanadu just had a big announcement that they performed something in 36 microseconds that would have taken 9,000 years. So that's huge in its own. There's a number of things you could do with quantum security. So I don't know if you're aware, but May 4th, there was a big White House announcement that, you know, number one, we want to remain leaders and then protect our data. And after that, there's been NIST algorithms. There's 4 NIST algorithms. And in that case, you can use on classical hardware to prevent quantum attacks. And like I mentioned earlier, the Samsung Galaxy Quantum phone, quantum networks, I put in the chat as well. I would definitely check that out. There's 4 different quantum networks: British Telecom, Chicago, University of Chicago, Argonne to Fermilab, and then DCQNet. They're saying we will have national quantum internet, definitively. So it's worth checking these things out, because a lot of times they know the government, so for everybody, quantum is a government initiative since the early 1980s, and NSF thinks we'll have a practical quantum computer, the biggest funder of it, I believe, by the end of 2023, next year, practical. So pretty awesome stuff. So Ryan or Gritmain, first come, first serve?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. Hey, Philip, you guys hear me? You guys hear me?
Hi, Ryan. So great to see
Philip.
you here.
Likewise. Great presentation, as expected. I just want to add, I think someone was asking about the end user thing. This isn't a question, I guess, just like a comment. And it's so interesting because I'm from Miami, which has no mention of quantum. People barely know what MIT is. And it's funny because I had this moment of sort of epiphany, because I went to this ice cream place. I love ice cream. And it was a nitrogen ice cream place. And across from it was a typical Haagen-Dazs. And so I go into the nitrogen ice cream place, and it's packed. And I asked the people working there, I said, well, why are you, what's the deal? Why are people going to nitrogen ice cream? And then they showed me how when they make it, it's all these different special effects. They got the smoke and they got the dry ice, and everyone loves it. Whether kids, whether you're older. And to me, it made me, going back to science fiction and Star Trek, was kind of this aha moment, where if you can get that visual sort of performative component to your science quantum thing, then that's a really huge impact. Just to add more to that discussion is for what I do. Well, for us, Conduit, we're actually making a test that uses quantum dots. And so long story short is that we actually have a bubbling effect in the test we're using to make this sort of cool, sparkly, 5-year-old, get excited, type moment. And we find that helps in terms of marketing and kind of giving a visual, and again, like Philip was saying, that neurological connection in terms of what we're doing with quantum. So I just want to add those little 2 cents, maybe 3 cents.
Yeah, and thanks again. So everybody, Ryan was a previous speaker on, he's been on Forbes. He was featured on the Forbes. He was featured on MIT. Thanks for coming on. So Ryan has a company, Conduit, I believe, Ryan?
Conduit, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's been basically, if you look at Ryan, you can post it or check it out on his LinkedIn, first ever for many things. So he was very kind of early with quantum too at MIT. Okay, so anybody else we haven't heard of? I see Edward with your hand up there. Go ahead.
I spoke briefly before, but so I guess my background is math, right? And what I'm doing, I'm kind of learning both physics aspect of quantum as well as programming aspects on my own. And I wonder if anyone else is doing similar things, so I can kind of discuss things like, and if people are, and if people would like, and I would gladly talk to people.